So today I thought I would show you a project that I have been working on over the last several months. This is a charging case that I'm building for a friend of mine, and it started out working in a CAD program. This one here is the Google SketchUp one. Here's the upper or the lower deck that I've built, where the charger unit itself will sit here, parallel board compartment here. These are obviously going to be two fans. This is a AC disconnect for a DC power input, and then if I remember right, this is a 12 volt USB port, LEDs to show that the power supplies are working, input power. Up on top, just generic basic exhaust airflow out, and then power switches for the power supplies. And it starts out in that form on the CAD box, under which they get printed out. And there are certain steps you have to go in order to print this. One of them is you got to click up on camera view, got to change it to parallel perspective, and also change it to top, and then set up your print mechanism in order to get it to print under your print setup. And there are some adjustments that you have to do with centering your image to the screen, reducing the size of the screen down to help reduce the amount of paper that it prints out on. But it does get printed into various pieces. And here's one for instance. What I'm doing here is I originally cut out and built this little guy for the parallel boards to sit in, and well, let's just say my first deck fell off the bench and broke, so I had to start over. So I decided to redesign this one, spreading them apart a little bit wider. And so these are going to be the sides and the end pieces. And so when it gets printed, this one printed out on two sheets, as you can see, to which I'll end up having to cut off the white part, and then the white on this side as well, and then lining them up, and then I tape them together, and then I use the 3M Super 77, spray it down, and then I stick it onto the plastic. I'll show you that here in a second. So here's a piece of the plastic as it comes from the manufacturer. And once I get these cut, then I'll line them up and lay them out on the piece of plastic, spray them with the 3M 77, and then I'll stick them down. And then my next step from there is I take it over to my scroll saw, and I cut them out on my scroll saw. It's a slow, tedious process, but it works. And so this is what we end up with. Up on top, you can see the first one that I cut out, the first deck where it fell off the bench and broke. And so I cut out a second one. Here's the second one, and this one I've changed. I actually made the material, it's thicker material. I bought 1/4 inch instead of, I think it was 3/16 if I remember right. So this is 1/4 inch. Layout is basically the same as you saw it on the screen. Nothing has really changed. This is where the change is going to take place. I'm going to hand draw in the compartment. I've actually started it with the lines here where I will cut out for the removable parallel board. So parallel boards sit something like that, and I'm making it so it's an under compartment. So this should lift up, and he'll have access to put in various connectors for the parallel board, power cords for the input power. And so what you get when you cut them out in the plastic is you'll end up with pieces like this one. This is one that I cut out for the old deck that isn't going to be no longer used. So I will end up cutting a new piece of plastic to replace. But once I cut them out, ends up looking something like this after lining up the papers, sticking them on. All of these were cut on the scroll saw to give our shapes, and then I had to hand shape them for the dove joints, so to speak. And so I will redo that piece. This was for the lower compartment. It sat underneath, and then this would have been a compartment underneath the parallel boards. So this one is going to be changed to fit the new design that I've done. And all of this is going to go inside this Nanook case. I do believe this was the Nanook 940 case. Joel wanted orange, so we picked up an orange one. And inside are more pieces to go on. This is the faceplate to the Powerlab Duo that I will be using. And there's one of the fans. And so what I got here are 4 of the Hewlett-Packard 600 PBs, I believe is what the power supply numbers were. 2 of them, as you can see, have been floated with a DC float. The other 2 are direct input as they come stock. All I did is modify them so that they could turn on. And so all of this will get wired up under the parallel board that I'm cutting out down here. And the Powerlab Duo will sit underneath. All of that fits inside here. So let me move this stuff and I'll give you a view inside. Yeah, how this kind of sits in here once everything is set. So this guy sits down inside and will sit like so. The deck will. And then the Powerlab Duo, of course, fits here. This will be the only thing you'll see. These compartments will have a door over, or this compartment here, I was looking off camera. This compartment will have a door to cover the on-off switch. And here's the on-off switch for the DC, AC-DC connect. And this is just simply so that when he's out and about and decides to run it on a 12 or 24 volt battery, he can and bypass the power supplies. Otherwise, he can plug it up to his generator. He wanted to have 2 options, and so there we go. That's how we came up with an option, is using a power disconnect. It will disconnect so there is no backfeed into the power supplies. Over in this compartment will be an extra 12 volt out using your standard banana connectors. This is for his other charger. He wanted to have that available as well as the Powerlab Duo, although I don't think he'll ever touch the other charger after he starts playing with the Duo. And then upper deck will have, up here will be an upper deck attached into that one, under which we will use the bump system. And he wanted a couple voltmeters to also monitor the power supply. So anyway, this is one of the projects that I've been working on for a friend of mine, and hopefully we'll get it wrapped up here real soon. I'm nearly done with the deck. Just got to build that final compartment for the parallel boards, build the box that it will sit in, and then get wiring things up. So next time I talk to you about this thing, hopefully I'll have it completed and we'll all be working. This is, by the way, is acrylic. It's this off-white, like you see here, that does allow some light through. So underneath the box inside here, I will route some LEDs so that this whole thing will be backlit. And with the LED controller module, it's remote control, he'll be able to change the colors that he wants. And up on top, I've got a clearer piece that will be attached to the white, and that way he can have downlight with some clear LEDs. They're hugely bright LEDs that will shine in. So if he's working in the dark, he'll not only have it backlit, but he'll be able to see what he's doing up on top with the bright white light. So anyway, kind of a cool little thing. That's what I'm working on. Hope this might inspire somebody else to do something similar to this. In fact, you know, I kind of got this idea off of RC Groups when I built my original power supply box, which is down there, which I made out of MDF. And he saw that set up and wanted to do something more to it, and I told him that I originally was wanting to put it in a case, and at the time I didn't have the funds to do it. So he wanted a case, so here we go, making him his case, and all self-contained. Anyway, have a good day.